Hello, my name is Thomas K. Carpenter, author of the 100 Halls series and creator of Champions of the 100 Halls. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play my game. The first thing you have to do is select the player decks that you're playing, the scenario deck you're playing against, and the realm deck you're playing in. Now, normally you'd have 2 to 4 players, but for this example, I'm just going to have 1 player. In this one, I've chosen Ari. The deck that goes first is the scenario deck, which is APEP. After the hit points listed in the card, it says at the beginning of the scenario turn, flip over a card from the deck. Let's do that now. We have the Misteraken. It is a creature that has 10 hit points and will deal damage to us at the end of the scenario turn. However, we're not ready for that, but we'll go ahead and put the tokens here to designate its hit points. Next, we read, at the end of the scenario turn, deal 5 damage to the player with the highest hit points. Well, since we only have Ari, unfortunately, she has to take 5 damage. And now we move on to the Misteraken, who also says, at the end of the scenario turn, deal 5 damage to the player with the highest hit points. Ouch. She's losing a lot of hit points already. Next, we go to the realm turn. If you read the top of the card, it says, at the beginning of the realm turn, flip over a card from the deck. We'll do that right now. We have Holland Fighting. Players may not heal other players. A player can take 4 damage at the end of their turn to destroy this event. Right now, since we only have 1 player, we're not really going to worry about that. Before we move on to the player deck, I'm going to highlight one more thing from the Realm card. It says, whenever a player completes a Realm quest, that player heals 1 damage and draws a card. That's going to become important later. Now we move to Ari. On her player card, beneath the hit points, you can see it says 5 elements. These are basic spells that any mage can use with a simple activation. It says Spirit 2 and Fire 2. That means she can do 2 damage with either fire or spirit damage. The next thing it says is an activated ability, Selfless Protector. Ari takes 2 damage, which cannot be prevented. Target other player cannot take damage until Ari's next turn. Since it's only 1 player, this isn't going to come into play, but in group games, this is a very important skill. The last thing it says is a static ability. When Ari deals spirit damage to 1 or more targets, heal target player 1 damage. Next, we'll look at her cards. She drew 5 cards in her opening hand. Lexology, Enochian Clinic Healer, Portal Bag, Protective Charms, and Biblioscribe. Now for spells, these are one-time use cards that immediately go into the graveyard after their effect is finished. For trinkets, enchantments, or artifacts, these go into play and either have static effects or activated effects that you can use to affect the gameplay. In this case, Ari is going to choose to cast Protective Charms, which reduces damage dealt to Ari by 1. This is going to be important to survive the Misteraken and APEP. So we will play that card. There's no cost to playing a card, but you just can only play 1 per turn. The next thing you can do is activate an effect. Since we don't have anything else to activate, we'll deal 2 damage with her spirit ability to the Misteraken, taking those 2, which will heal her by 1 due to her static ability. And at the end of the turn, she'll draw a card. And she got Eidetic Memory. After finishing all player turns, we go back to the scenario turn. The first thing we do is flip over a card from the scenario deck. In this case, we got Mind Blast. Each player discards 2 cards and takes 2 damage. We'll take that right now. And as far as cards to discard, we're probably going to get rid of Biblioscribe and Portal Bag because these aren't going to be as important right now. And these will go into our graveyard. Now we go to the last part, which says at the end of the scenario turn, deal 5 damage to the players the highest hit points. Since she has Protective Charms in play, she'll take 1 less, so only 4. And also going to be taking it from the Misteraken as well. So I'll take away this 10 and add 2. She's not doing so well, but I think we can recover. The next one we go over is to the Realm deck. Flip over, we have Howling Madwoman, a quest. A player can take 8 damage at the end of their turn to complete the quest. If you do, you get a reward. Spirit Ward, which is an enchantment, damage dealt to this player is reduced by 1. So I think we're going to want to do that. Now we go back to Ari's turn. We're going to want to cast Enochian Clinic Healer. Heal Ari 5 damage, play 1 card from your hand. So this goes into the graveyard, and she heals 5 hit points. She gets to play another card, so she'll do Lexology, deals 2 spirit damage to all enemies. So this will do 2 damage to the Misteraken and 2 damage to Apep, and heal her 1 hit point. And at the end of the turn, she's going to choose to complete the quest, taking 8 damage, but she completes the quest, which will give her another reduction, so now she has a reduction of 2, and she healed 1 hit point from the City of Sorcery, and she gets to draw 1 card, which will be another Protective Charms. Since it's the end of the turn, the last thing she does is draw another card, in this case, Protect Friends. So now we would go back to the scenario deck and keep going around until either the players or the scenario deck is defeated. So that's basically the game. You have a pretty good idea how to start. But remember, with 20 different decks, there are countless variations and many different ways to play. Thank you, and I hope you'll enjoy playing Champions of the 100 Halls.